Hello and welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show live streaming. I'm Stephen Browne. Joining me on this week's show is Chris Bell. We're taking a look at Bradford City, and I'm delighted to say joining us from the City event it is Andy. Andy, how are we doing, mate?
Not too bad. How are you both doing?
Good, thank you. Very well. Thanks for joining us. So we've got to start with the Gillingham game, mate. An absolute kick in the teeth at the end. What did you make of it?
Oh, it's horrible. It were horrible. First half, we didn't do well at all, to be fair. Second half, we played really well. We got ourselves back into it, got ourselves in front. But I don't know where they got 8 minutes from. The officials, there were nothing in the game, right, that warranted an 8-minute added time. Nothing at all. And to concede in 97th minute is gut wrenching at the best of times. But when you're so close in a promotion race and it's so close to end of season, I could have cried.
Yeah.
It were awful. It were awful.
I think Mark Hughes was absolutely fuming as well, wouldn't he? And you can imagine why there was no reason for the time to get added on like that.
Oh, it's beyond a joke. Mark Hughes, he gets so animated and he's been so frustrated with refs this season. It's like the thing is, I don't want to blame it all on refs. Let's shut that down straight away. But we've had, I think it's 2 or 3 written apologies from refs for getting decisions wrong, like penalties where we should have been awarded penalties that could have got us points in games. So we could have been a lot further on than where we're at. If we'd have had a decent standard of officiating.
Yeah. I remember there was one game, I can't remember who it was against. We were chatting to Simon Parker about it, and there was a tackle on a City player that looked like a penalty, wasn't given, and then they went up the other end and referees like penalty. Mark Hughes must just be pulling his hair out with that kind of standard of refereeing.
I think it's there. I think
it
might be a game.
Yeah,
it's just horrible, isn't it? Like the standard of refereeing. I mean, across all leagues, like you'd expect it to be better than what it is. It can be so Sunday league at times, and it's not what we should be having. We're meant to be like the best pyramid in the world, and we've got officiating like this going on in a professional football match. It just shouldn't be happening.
No, absolutely. What would you make of the reason for that kind of slow start for the game for City then? What was going on, do you think? Do you think they're kind of feeling the heat, feeling the pressure from the promotion push?
I think so. So jumping away from the Gillingham game back to the Swindon game, you could tell that the boys were visibly nervous. And I don't know whether that's due to their age, their experience, whether many of them have experienced it much in the past. But we've got to the business end and there's just little mistakes creeping in and teams are scoring goals against us from our own wrongdoings. So we've got like Harry Lewis, the goalkeeper, and Stubbs and Critchlow against Gillingham. They've all made mistakes that have led to goals or penalties being awarded and causing our own problems. And I think it's like they're going in with an attitude of don't lose. If we can't win, don't lose, which is fair enough. But at this stage of the season, that's not going to cut it. It needs to be balls to wall, and they're just too scared to make the passes that they were doing earlier on in the season, which gets us further up the pitch and obviously looking to score goals. So playing it a bit safe and just not getting into the game. Like against Gillingham, we'd looked like a Sunday League outfit in first half.
Yeah,
it were awful. Possibly worst half of football we've seen this season.
Yeah, no, this is it. I mean, we were chatting just off air before we came on about it's funny because we've got a lot of teams in our area that are under threat of relegation. And then it's a similar kind of pressure in a weird way, and players tense up and they can't make the simple passes anymore. And it's just all psychological, isn't it?
Yeah, it's horrible. Obviously, we're not footballers. I mean, I don't have the physique for it for a start, but like the pressure they must feel, it must be unbearable at best of times. And doing it in front of 17,000, 18,000 at Valley Parade in League Two is going to be huge for most of these players because they won't have played in front of crowds this big before. And we're a vocal fan base. When things are going well, when we're playing well, we're right behind you. And the Cop, we suck that ball into goal. But when it's not going so well and we get on the backs, it's a bit icy.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier there as well, I mean, their first goal mistake from Critchlow, but sad to see that he's had to deactivate social media accounts, etc., for abuse that he's received after. I mean, just so disappointing to hear that, isn't it?
Oh, it's disgusting. Regardless of who makes a mistake, at the end of the day, it's a game of football. Yeah, we all love it. We're in it with us full hearts, but there's no excuse for somebody to go and give death threats to a football player for making a mistake. It's disgusting. I hope the club and the police do everything they can to find out who it was. But that's the problem with social media, isn't it? You can post stuff anonymously and get away with it, no problem at all. So it's not right, and we should be doing everything to make sure that Critchlow knows that it is one buffoon. Just being an absolute pleb. He's probably had one too many beers, and hopefully he regrets sending it. But
you'd hope so. And also, you think I don't understand what they think is going to happen as well. It's not going to help with nerves, is it? It's not going to help with confidence, is it? Going forward, totally stupid, really. A man who doesn't seem to be lacking in confidence, though. Andy Cook up front, more goals. I mean, just unbelievable. But he's going to miss out on potentially Player of the Season, which seems staggering.
He has missed out. At the EFL Awards.
Unbelievable.
And it came out in TNA today as well, that even the players can't believe that he didn't get it. How you can be top goal scorer with most involvements. He's basically carried the team goals-wise to where we are. No one's really contributed. And how he didn't get it, it just feels like everything's conspiring against City at the moment. Well, he deserved it. He definitely did. And at the start of the season, I was first to say I'm not sure he's going to fit in with Hughes' system, especially when we brought in Verdane Oliver. I were pretty much saying he's not good enough. He can go on his bike. But he stood up to challenge, and he's put in a bloody good shift this season, and his goals tally is showing that.
Yeah. What's happening with that contract of his? Is that still kind of up in the air, or what's going on there? You'd have thought he'd been nailed down by now.
Well, they never get nailed down at City that early.
Got to let you twist in the wind a bit.
Let you twist in wind a bit, and what they'll do is they'll leave it until his contract expires, and he'll go and find some other club. That's the City way to do it. No, but I think talks will have already started, won't they? Let's be fair. There must be talking in background. And I think it'll probably come down to which division we're playing in, depends on what the numbers are on the contract come next season, and then obviously whether he wants to sign it. But there's a few that are in a bit of contract limbo. But Hughes has stated that he wants to make short seasons out where we're before we can even start looking towards next season. We've got too much to play for now. And I think it's a good thing that we don't sign him straight away.
Yeah.
Because if it might go the other way, but if he goes and signs a contract now and he's all signed, sealed, ready for next season, he might take his foot off at gas and just coast it. And I don't think he would, but we don't want that. Obviously, we want to keep pushing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned him there as well. Verdane Oliver, he's out now, isn't he, for the rest of the season? That's come out. What have you made of his kind of first year at the club?
Andy Cook. It's literally Andy Cook. He was brought in to be main man, and Andy Cook's just kept him out of the team. And the thing is, when he's come into the team, he's not done much. But I'm not sure whether that's because of the system we're playing, or whether it's because he's not having game time to get into the groove of things. But I expected I expected a lot more from him. He's another one though that I thought wasn't really with this passing ethos that Hughes sort of like set up with. He's a big man.
Oliver is a bit more of a target man.
It's like a James Anson of old sort of thing. Like, you lump it up, it's long ball football that he's suited to. He's a massive target man. And I think last season he scored the most goals with his head. So
does it all?
He does it all, but I'm just not sure whether he fits our style. But we have got him. He came in on a 3-year contract, so he's going under knife today, and we'll see what he's like next season, I think.
Do you know, I could just mention about Cook and his expiring contract. I can imagine if Wrexham, they are up, but I can imagine them doing something, just stealing in there and, nicking someone like that. I could imagine that,
Phil Parkinson as well.
Yeah, no, you can't have that. Surely he's not going to do that to his old team.
I can't. They've got Mullin. I mean, Mullin's been on fire this season, to be fair, for Wrexham.
Yeah.
And with the players that they're talking are trying to get out of retirement, I've seen Robson Carnu, Bale. It looks like they're going to have half at Wales squad next season, so I don't think they'll need Mr. Cook. Hopefully, that's another thing we've got to get out of this league for, because their money, even though they're going to get hit by financial fair play, because they don't have that in conference.
No.
I'm worried about them next season.
I was hearing that though, but their kind of sponsorship deals and stuff, they're up for renewal, and just the attention they're getting, they may be able to sustain it. They may be able to sustain it and even spend more, with how much they're making on commercially.
Not exactly familiar with TikTok, to be honest. I'm not their target audience. That is obviously like a multi-billion-pound app, and for them to get what will be a drop in the ocean for them to just go back and sponsor them for next season will just be plenty at this rate for their kind of financial fair play. I guess the other thing with Wrexham as well is financial fair play. They're starting with a massive budget already. It's not like they've just had this takeover or whatever, so they've got a smaller budget and they've got to be careful of how much they're increasing. It's already massive.
Yeah.
So they're already probably easily probably top 3, top 5 kind of wage budget at League 2 level where they are now. So it's going to be, put it this way, it's one of those, if you're a Wrexham fan, you're absolutely buzzing for this summer and who can come in.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Everybody else in the National League and for League 2, sorry, it's
they'll just steam through it. I think they'll just.
I reckon they're on for a double promotion.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I think League 1 will be a challenge, but I think League 2 they'll just roll it. So City need to get out, and it's just another one of those things, isn't it? In the back of your mind, think, God, a little bit more pressure.
It's awful. It is awful.
They'll all be thinking the same, though, won't they? We don't want to compete with Wrexham next season. Let's get out whilst we can.
Yeah. Literally. That's the thing. We've got Northampton on weekend, and if they win, they're up.
Yeah.
But we need to win to keep in touch with playoffs and the faintest glimmer of reaching the autos. The faintest, everything's got to align, but it's not a good time.
No. What do you make of Hughes generally this season? Obviously you've mentioned the kind of patient passing kind of tactics that he's tried to kind of put on the City there, and I know obviously we've spoken to various fans over the course of the year, and it's been hit and miss at the time. Fans have been frustrated with it at times. Has he delivered for you this season, Mark Hughes, or is it we're going to have to wait to see if they actually get promoted or not to decide that?
I said at the start of the season I expected us to finish third. That don't look like it's going to happen. I think Mark Hughes' style of football that he's brought in is more suited to your championship sort of standard. I think if we were playing this style of football in the championship, we'd be laughing all the way home. But League 2 football, it's totally different. And it's a lot more physical. The patient passing and stuff like that. If it's going somewhere, it's great.
Yeah.
But when it's just sideways for half an hour in a match, you're like, do something. And it's so frustrating. Mark Hughes, on a whole, for me, is a great manager, and he gets the club, in my opinion. And I think he's untouchable. Go up or go down. I don't think we're going to get rid of him at all unless he calls it a day. And yeah, his style of play has divided many, but all in all, he's come in, he's doing a job. It's his first full season in League Two.
Yeah.
With the players he's got, it's going to be seen as a failure, though.
It must be when you're in his position, so used to managing, the budgets, the technical ability of the players, and also the fact that in the Premier League and that, a lot of sides try to, play similar sort of style, keeping it on the deck and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It must have been such a challenge for him to come to this league where you're up against, physical, brutish sides with, a sprinkling of really good footballing teams. It must have been such, and the fact that actually what you said earlier about the officiating as well, it must have been such a culture change on the pitch for him, like the training ground and everything on there.
Yeah,
that'll be the same. He'll do it in such a professional manner. But when it comes to the 90 minutes on Saturday this season, it must have been like nothing else he'd experienced. Imagine from being in charge of City when they had that takeover and Rubinho rocks up. So now you've got to compete against
Steve Evans,
Ollie Hawkins, who's 6'5", and Gillingham just get it long to him, sort of thing.
Yeah, he has had a culture shock. He's mentioned it as well. Like not just on the Saturday afternoon, but just in general. One of the big things that he's mentioned is the fact that whereas like when he's in the Prem and whatnot with clubs there, he very rarely spoke to the players and had one-on-one time. But in League Two with Bradford, he's literally having to do everything.
Yeah.
There's not that massive array of coaches to choose from to take defenders over there and all that sort of stuff. So it is a big change for him, innit? But the thing is he might not have been involved in lower league football or sort of like promotions or anything like that because he's been Premier League only. But he's been fighting for like European places, and he's been fighting against relegation, which is pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same pressure-wise, isn't it, as a promotion?
Yeah.
So he's got that experience of it, and as a player, obviously he's been in all sorts of pressurized moments, but it's a big jump down, isn't it? It's a big culture change.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if he kind of uses this season. He'd say you don't get promotion this season. It'll be interesting to see what he's learned that first season, see if he does adapt things, and maybe next season he'll absolutely storm it for you.
Yeah, I think he's setting his ways.
Yeah,
that's one thing I will say. Is like in a game, is very reluctant to make any subs until at least at the very earliest 60 minutes in, and he's only recently started changing systems during a game. It were very rare for most of the season. We wouldn't see any formation changes whatsoever. It would pretty much set standard. This is what I want, and I think he underestimated that League Two players. They're in League Two because they've got a mistake in them.
Yeah,
and that this tick-tacker passing style going across the back, and especially on some pitches as well. Some pitches in League Two are god awful. They may as well be potato fields. You what?
Your Crew. God, speaking of bad pitches, Crew Alexander's pitch is the worst I think I've ever seen. And I've been to Parsley Celtic a few times, and their pitch is renowned. But Crew's was genuinely spray painted green along the touchlines. It was horrendous.
I'm going to Crew on Wednesday, which next Wednesday, which should be Hopefully.
Oh, you are in for a treat. Just if you get a chance, genuinely have a close look at that pitch as you can, because it is awful.
Yeah, it's like we were at Newport. I think it was last season, and they share it with rugby team, and that were that were literally a potato field. Like you'd think a farmer had just driven a combine harvester down it or something. It were awful. It were awful, and that's some of the things that I think he has learned from this season, though.
Yeah,
that you're not getting these carpets to play on week in, week out. There's just not the budget for it in League Two to have grounds to be in that good a nick, and it's just these little things that I think he will learn from it, but I don't think he'll change his complete style of play.
Yeah.
He's a creature of habit. The way he plays now is the same way that he played at Southampton, even at Man City. Like it's the same sort of style of play. He's a creature of habit. He likes it on the ground. He likes to pass it about. But I just want to see more urgency in that passing.
Yeah.
That's the issue we're having. This system would work in this league if there were more urgency. But trying to draw teams out, because they come to Valley Parade for a lot of them. Without sounding big-headed, it's their cup final.
Yeah,
they come to Valley Parade, so they're sitting and make it and say, "Come on, break me down." And when we're too slow, to transition from the back to break them down, and that's been our downfall this season. We've had one of the best away records all season. I think we're second in form table for away, and but at home we're mid-table because we're not getting the results. Because teams come in, they sit back, say, break us down if you can, and then catch us on a counter, get a cheeky goal, and then they just play act all the way through and turn into Oscar winners.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I did here, one stat I saw thrown out about City as well, is they've lost 8 points from stoppage time, like across the course of this season. I mean, is there any particular reason why that is, do you think? What?
It's
concentration. I suppose if the ref gives 7 or 8 minutes, I don't know, that doesn't help. But
no, that doesn't help. But you've got to play until the end, and that's something that we've not done. Like Gillingham, we got that. We got our goal to go ahead, and then we sat back and invited the pressure. Whereas we can't. We struggle to control a game, especially in that last sort of like 5-10 minutes. That's been the issue.
Yeah.
And then when these crazy added time minutes go up, then it just adds that more pressure, especially at Valley Parade. The fans are getting on your case, get out of the box and whatnot. And it just makes it hard, doesn't it, for them? Yeah. And I can understand they're under pressure, but at the end of the day, it's their job. And it's something that they need to obviously work on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a huge week, or just over a week now. Rest of the season, 3 games left, starting with Northampton at the weekend. How do you see that one going, Andy?
I don't know. I don't know anymore. I keep giving predictions left, right, and centre, and I ain't got Scooby-Doo. I know nothing about football. I dislike the game completely now. It's horrible.
Yeah,
I don't know. We need a win. We need the win. Like, it's that tight in playoffs. We need it. Simple as. But on the flip side, they're going to be well up for it, because if they win, they're up. But when they came to Valley Parade earlier on this season, they were probably one of the best sides we've seen this season. They were on point. But saying that, Sam Hoskins, who plays for him, getting Player of the Year, I'm hoping that's a little bit of a fire in Cookie's belly and give him a bit of a grind, axe to grind, so he'll want to get one up on him. But it's a tough one. It really is a tough call. You are sorry?
Very, very difficult place to go is Six Fields this season.
Yeah, 100%. And anything could happen. It depends what City turn up.
Yeah.
If the cool, calm, collected City that have shown themselves this season turn up, I've got no problem with asking for 3 points.
Yeah.
But if that first half City team turn up from Gillingham last week, it's going to be a long afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah. What about Crewe then? Midweek Crewe sat down in 18th. How do you see that one going?
Knowing Bradford City and the way we go about stuff, we'll slam Northampton 5-0.
Yeah.
We'll slam Leyton Orient 5-0, and then we'll lose 4-0 to Crewe.
Yeah,
that's just the way Bradford City goes. It's never easy, but we should be winning. We should be winning. We need to win.
Yeah.
Everything's a must win. It's so cliche, but there's no other way to talk about it. If we want to have any chance at playoffs at this point, we've gone from fighting for autos to trying to scrap a playoff place now in the space of 2 games. That's how close this league is. So we've got to get maximum points. If we beat Crewe, I think we're pretty much nailed on for playoffs because that's our game in hand. Everyone else has only got 2 games left. So, but going from Northampton to Crewe to Leyton Orient, I think it's going to work in our favour because when we've had games in quick succession, like Saturday, Tuesday, we've got into a bit of a rhythm.
Yeah.
So, like, I reckon that could go in our favour, where some teams might be tired from that. We get into his rhythm when we've got a big amount of games to go all at once. So, I don't know. I'm not giving you any score prediction.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Understandable.
It's not happening.
I mean, Leyton Orient, I mean, you'd hope they're on the beach by then. I mean, the champions, everything's, gone well for them. But you'd hope they're just kind of, come on, we want to pack up, get celebrating here,
Well, we're begging for them to send up the under-21s.
Yeah.
And to be fair, apparently, from what I've seen on Twitter, I don't know too much about them, but they've had quite a few first-team injuries over the last week or so. So I think they made 8 changes for the last game. So the chance is there, but they are by far the best side in this league this season. They have been phenomenal. Fair play to them. Yeah. And they've just been really difficult to beat. When we went to Leyton Orient, we had a good start, but the second they scored, they've just got that. You know when a team's got that winning mentality about them, and that anything that touches gold.
Yeah,
that's what they've been this season. Fair play to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Just having a look as well, because I mean, around you, it's obviously between Mansfield, yourself, Salford. Two of you going to get in it. Mansfield coming up at the end, so they've got Harrogate and Colchester up next. I mean, what do you make of their last 2 games there?
Harrogate, they've got one of our boys on loan. They've got Matty Folds on loan, so I'm hoping Matty Folds, and he's a City fan as well, Bradford boy, City fan. I'm hoping he's gonna do some damage to him. I'm not. I don't know. It's god awful. It depends. Harrogate, when they want to turn up, they can turn up.
Yeah,
but 9 times out of 10, they're woeful. So it's not.
Both of those games, and this isn't encouraging for you, Andy, but for both of those games, I mean, I saw Mansfield a couple of weeks or so ago against Rochdale, and they were very, very good. They've won a couple of games since then. And Harrogate and Colchester are both going to be safe. They're in no danger of going down, so there is that slight worry from their perspective, or from your perspective at least, that they've got nothing to play for. They'll be the ones on the beach, whilst Mansfield have got something to play for.
Yeah, will they be on the beach though? What done any team if you've got a chance of stopping a team from getting promotion? Oh, it's horrible. No, I hope they're not on beach. I'd like to think if they can be if they see only 4 points out of them 2 games, I'd be happy. I think that'd be good for City, but that means we have to. We've got 9 points on offer. They've they've got the 6. If they see 4 points, then I'm happy. To be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, fingers crossed. Anyway, Andy, hopefully City can get the business done, starting against Northampton. Then, if you get in the playoffs, it's all the playoff pressure then and the stress that brings as well.
That's even worse.
Getting back on just before the playoffs, and just see how his heart rate is at that point.
I'm not going to be alive. I'm going to be hooked up to some sort of machine or something. Like when it's heartbreaking, is Wembley. Like it's horrible. When we were against Millwall, like that's literally one of the first times I've ever actually cried at a football game.
Yeah.
When Millwall scored so late on, because at that point we could have gone Championship, and
bro,
it were horrible, and I just don't want playoffs. Like for kids and people who've never been to Wembley before, it's a great day out for them.
Yeah,
but the stress of it, no, you're all right. I'd rather not, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, still a slim chance of automatic, but yeah, it's just got to be playoffs minimum, hasn't it?
Yeah, playoffs minimum. I mean, if all stars align, I'd be grateful. That'd be nice.
Yeah,
but I can't see it. I genuinely think that we'll scrape playoffs. It's not going to be pretty to watch. I think we'll scrape playoffs. Whether this team will win the playoffs, I'm not sure, because they've shown the nerves already. But we'll have to wait and see for playoffs and cross that bridge when we get to it, innit? But
we will. I'm nervous for you. I've got to admit. But Andy, we really appreciate you coming on anyway. If you've enjoyed the video, please do pop a like on the video. Also, subscribe to the channel for more content on Bradford City and our other teams in the region as well. Andy, we look forward to hopefully speaking to you again in future. Hopefully, they're in a different division by then.
Hopefully, yeah. If we get promoted, I'll come on again. If we don't, you're all right.
Fair enough. His first and possibly last appearance, depending on what happens. We'll see.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks for watching. I've been Steven Browne. With me has been Chris Bell. Chris, thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.
And we'll speak to you next week. Thank you.